Okay, we're recording. Yay! Because you never know what's going to happen. And sometimes the live stream stops and sometimes the internet kicks out. So we'll try to record it and see what happens. But I know Megan is here. If anyone else is here, if Facebook, just in the comments, let me know that you're here so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. I wanted to chat a little bit about social media, and I have my phone out for my Facebook comments so I can see. But I've had a lot of questions, especially with some new business builders recently, about how to show up on social media. So I thought, let's take the most commonly asked questions about social media and let's talk about them. And one of the things that I want to say up front is that your social media is kind of like you, whereas it is probably going to be ever changing. It changes, so we have to change. And so as you start to like figure yourself out and what you're about and what you're going to show up and talk about, what your passions are, I think is what I'm trying to say. And you will start to evolve over time. So I'm mostly talking about Facebook and Instagram, although I think you can apply any of this stuff to like LinkedIn and Twitter, although like your amount of text is different in Twitter and the amount of text is different in LinkedIn, and they kind of have different purposes. But for the most part, I'm mostly talking about Facebook and Instagram. Here's also to say you don't need to show up on all the platforms. So if you feel overwhelmed by social media, pick one. Just pick one and let that be your focus. I love Instagram. Facebook's not my favorite. So I tend to be more consistent on Instagram because the engagement that I get is different than the engagement that I get on Facebook. So choose one, make that your platform. Don't feel like you need to show up in all the places. But also in the same breath, though, realize that if you choose one and it's Instagram, you can just copy and paste or shorten exactly what you've written on Instagram and bring it over to Twitter, bring it over to LinkedIn, right? So we can utilize the platforms if you want to, but don't feel like you need to hit them all. So one of the biggest questions I think that people ask about social media is, should I have a separate account for my business? So this can relate to the business that you're in right now, and it can relate to any other business that you run. Say you're a photographer and you also do a network marketing company, right? Like it can relate to any business that you run, and it's going to depend. There is no like cut and dry yes or no answer. I think there's benefits and disadvantages to both sides. But if your goal is to gather people on social media and get them to come to you for what you have to offer, you're going to want to show up consistently and people are going to need to trust you. So if you're brand new to a marketing scene or you're brand new to any other small business that you're starting, people don't know you, they don't trust you, they're not going to buy from you yet. So if you go ahead and create a separate Instagram, let's say, for your business, you're not going to get new interested people to come follow you on your separate Instagram. It's going to be one, more work for you. And two, what you're going to get is either people who already use that product and they're just looking to learn more about that product, which is not necessarily your motive for starting a second Instagram. Or two, just these are going to be the people that are not going to be your buyers. The people are going to buy from you when they start to learn about you. So your Instagram or your social media in general should kind of be a snapshot of your whole life. Like people don't want to know like Gwen and how she uses oils every single day. Of course I use oils every single day. Like they're literally my life. Like Young Living is intertwined into every single part of my day. For example, like I have my sleek tea in my teacup right now. It literally is my whole day. But people don't want to follow me and be like, oh, Gwen's talking about oils again. Like, oh, there's a sleek tea. Yeah, knew that was coming. Like, they don't want to see that. They want to see how my business fits into the other parts of my life. So, one helpful thing that I think helps when you're coming to your social media to create posts and create content is, how am I going to show up? Like, what am I giving out to the world? How can I bring value to the people? And one thing that Martha Kraychik always says is you got to get your bat signal. Your bat signal is the thing that like Rosie's a lighthouse, right? So your lighthouse is shining out into the people. Your bat signal is the thing that's shining up into the sky and the people are being drawn into it. And 9 times out of 10, in fact, probably actually 10 times out of 10, your bat signal is what you needed before you found what you are promoting. So say your oils changed your life, right? They gave you this huge, whatever. We don't have to go into the details, but say the oils changed your life. The person that you were before you knew you needed oils, before those oils landed in your lap, is the person that you're talking to. So let me give you an example. For me, I was tired, exhausted, stressed out, a new mom. I literally had no time for me. And all that I wanted to do was get to the gym in the morning. Like I just wanted to have the freedom to choose when I got to go to the gym, right? So it was like, I didn't want to be home at 8:30 p.m. and then waiting until the kids are in bed and waiting until dinner's cleaned up and waiting till lunches were packed for me to get to the gym. I'm tired at that point. I want to go to bed. I wanted to be able to decide, you know what? Like I want to do gym at 9 o'clock in the morning. And you know what? Yeah, I want my kids to go to school 3 days a week, but I want them home 2 days a week. So that person, like where I was before I could make those decisions, is who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the tired moms. I'm talking to the exhausted moms. I'm talking to the moms who just want to be able to decide when and where they get to spend time with their kids, how they can take care of themselves and how they can decide the time that they want to take care of themselves. And the moms who just want to have an opportunity to cook healthy meals and have the time to plan for them. Because if you're tired, exhausted, working full time, raising kids, cooking meals, like you can't do any of those things. And you are in what I like to call, for me, was the 9 to 5 trauma, which really is like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. trauma, because no work day is just 9 to 5. Like you have to get to work, you have to pack the lunches, right? So that's who I'm talking about. I know that. That's my pain point. That's where I was before I could turn a corner. So the first thing I think that's really helpful for you to realize is, what is your bat signal? So get really, really, really strong about the signal you're putting out into the sky so that the other people can see it and be like, ah, that's Gwen's bat signal. Like I'm drawn to that. I got to go find Gwen, right? So you got to figure out what your bat signal is. And once you get that, everything that you post literally revolves around your bat signal. You're not talking to dads who are stressed and tired. You're talking to the mom that was stressed and tired. So you got to figure out what your bat signal is. Everything you talk about is going to revolve around that. It's really, really important. You're not here to change the whole world's life, although you will do that by posting what you're posting to the person that needs it. But you're literally here to help that one person, that one subgroup that needs you. Because a lot of times we think like, I'm going to go into social media and I'm going to hit all the people. I'm going to hit the moms, I'm going to hit the grandmas, I'm going to hit the pet owners. Like, and if it's not part of your story, it's not part of your life, and it's not part of your why, those are not your people. You might hit them by accident, a couple of them, right? You might like knock a couple over on the way and like they're going to fall into your stream. Or maybe they're a pet mom, but later on they become a human mom and then they fall into your stream that way. But you are going to have such a honed in signal that you're really focusing on one subset, one group. Okay, so get really, really, really clear on your bat signal. And sometimes it takes having a conversation with somebody. Like, who's someone that you can trust and you can pull up on the phone and be like, hey, like, who am I? What am I really good at talking about? What do you like hearing from me? You know, or journaling and going back into your time and just kind of remembering like who you were before you found what you have. Journal on it, like meditate on it, go outside and exercise, get time by yourself and figure it out. And then write it down somewhere, like tattoo it on your forehead, because that's it. That's your bat signal. Okay. Tattoo it on your forehead. Then consistency. This is the biggest thing. It just has to be consistent. People have to hear your story over and over and over again. There are a lot of like huge social media influencers, I guess you would call them, that talk about introducing yourself once a month. You think it's repetitive because you're like, oh, I just introduced myself last month. But maybe you have one new follower. Maybe you have 100 new followers. Maybe you have I don't know, half a follower, they're like hanging on by a thread. They're like, "Ooh, I don't know if I want to follow Gwen yet." Tell your story. Doesn't have to be long. No one wants to read super lengthy posts if they don't know you. That's the other thing, is your content should be short for the most part. And what's the word? Someone should want to click on it and read on it. They don't want to read a book. People are not coming to Instagram to read a book. They're just not. Like, raise your hand if you don't have time to read a book. Like, you don't want to go through Instagram and read these lengthy stories. So remember that when you're writing your post. You can do it in parts. Say you have a long story, but you want to do part 1. Monday, you do part 1 and you leave them with suspense so that Tuesday they're going to come back and read part 2. Or next Monday, they come back and read part 2, sorry. Okay, but no lengthy books because people are not going to stick around to read it. Unless you've really honed your signal in now and you've got people coming to you because they know you. Like if you're really in the space and you are like killing it and you have people coming to you because they're so excited to follow you, like once that starts to happen, you can totally have longer posts because your people are already there. But if you're trying to build that train and you're going uphill, right? You're trying to slowly go uphill so that you can eventually coast in your business. You're working real hard to get people to see you because this world is busy. Like this world is busy. There's a lot of people out there shining their light. You're going to attract the people who need to hear what you have to say, but they're not going to stick around for books unless they really, really know you and they really already know that they want to follow you. Okay. So consistency, no books, posts versus videos versus carousels. So if you don't know, this is on Instagram specifically. So a post is just one post. It's a picture and it's with content written below. A video, you know what a video is. Videos can be done in multiple ways on Instagram. So you can record a video and just put it in your post. You can record an IGTV video, which I'm pretty sure has to be 15 minutes or more. I could be wrong about that. But it does have to hit a certain time frame. And then that lives as a post. And it also lives as an IGTV video. So you can like link people back to an IGTV video if you wanted to. Say you explained, I don't know, how to do your makeup in under 5 minutes. You're like, busy moms need to know how to do their makeup in under 5 minutes and get out the door. Okay, and you can link that back. You can link people to your post. Then there's Reels. Reels are newer on Instagram. They're between 15 and 30 seconds. And using a multitude of these kind of lets your audience start to learn about you. They want to see you in action. They want to hear your voice. They want to hear your emotion in your voice. So I definitely think that doing video is going to make you more visible in the scene. If social media is the way that you want to draw people to you, anytime that Instagram or Facebook, but I don't think Facebook like comes out with new features like this, but anytime Instagram comes out with a new feature like Reels, those things are going to get higher algorithm and higher pull than anything else. So I would definitely be doing Reels. If you don't know how to do them, who cares? I went back to my first Reel that I ever did, and it was the worst thing I've ever seen. I was like, what? Why did I do that? That wasn't even interesting. Well, who cares? I did it. No one's going back to my very first Reel and being like, oh God, Gwen, like, I'm gonna write her off because she sucked at a Reel. Like, no one is checking. And you know what? You can make a Reel, and then if you're like, well, that really sucked, you can delete it. That's the thing about social media. You have complete control over exactly what shows up on your Instagram and your Facebook and your LinkedIn and your Twitter. Like, you have all the control in the world. You can delete what you don't like. Okay. I don't know how I got on that tangent. Oh, post versus video versus carousels versus stories. Carousels are just multiple pictures instead of just one picture. So those get higher algorithm too, because what happens is if someone is on your feed for a longer time, your information is going to be put in front of them more often. So if they have multiple pictures to scroll through, they've already spent more time on your feed than just one picture and they can scroll right past it. So I try to rarely do just one picture posts anymore. I want people sitting there and being like, oh, okay, let me read the story. Oh, she's got a couple of pictures. Great, cool. And one way that you can do that is if you have a picture and you also have a quote, you can then put your picture as the first one. People want to see your face. And then as your second picture, you can have the quote. right? So it's still a carousel because they're still swiping. You just have a separate, you have two pictures in there. So people are spending more time. Um, Stories. Okay, stories in Instagram are the thing at the very top of the screen on Instagram. These are like snippets of your life. These are like, okay, so every morning I make my coffee and I put my creamer in my frother and I froth my cream and I fill my coffee cup and I pick a music that feels like it goes with my day. And I do it for me because it's fun. But first of all, I can't tell you how many people have asked me where to get the frother that I have. They're like, where do I get that frother? And I'm like, Amazon. But two, people have told me that they look forward to the selection of music for the day. Like, oh, what's the selection of the music for the day? It has absolutely nothing to do with my business, but it's a part of my every single day. I do it anyway. And I just thought it would be fun to show people, like, this is what I do in the morning. Also, this is what I look like in the morning, right? Like, it's not about showing up perfectly posed. I think we're actually turning further away from that in the social media land. We're turning more towards like, oh, yeah, Gwen doesn't wake up with a full face of makeup. She's got no bra on and she's wearing sweatpants that have holes in them. Like, I do that. So I like Gwen because I'm like Gwen, right? So it's like, you don't have to show up with your makeup done. That's all I'm saying. People want to see the real you. They want to know the real you. I think Jenna Kutcher was really good at, and is still really good at, showing people that. So just show up as you. Who cares? Unless you're trying to win a beauty contest or like win the Bachelor or find some suitable bachelor, like, yeah, Megan says she's still in her pajamas. So I literally got out of my pajamas and into my yoga pants. You know what I mean? So it's not very different from any other day. And sometimes I do get dressed. Yesterday, I put 5 different outfits on to do a reel. So that was a good time. Those were clothes I had not picked out of my closet in months. So I was just giving them an opportunity to be worn once every 5 months because they're winter wardrobe. And I was afraid that we would get to summer and those poor clothes would have never seen it out of my closet. It was just an opportunity for them to be seen. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to throw an outfit on and be like, I feel good today. Document it. Be like, hey guys, got dressed today. Just wanted to show you that I actually pulled clothes out of my closet. Have fun with social media, because if we take it too seriously, it feels like a chore, and it's not supposed to be a chore. We're supposed to be there to enjoy it. I actually really like Instagram, and I don't love Facebook, so I don't show up on Facebook as much. The interaction, like I said, is different on Facebook than it is on Instagram, and so I stay where I like the people. That's all I'll say about that. So I was talking about stories. Stories are up top. It's almost like a little live like snippet into your life. 15-second videos. You can put a bunch of them together. You can put little GIFs and little music and other pictures. I mean, you can get really creative with it. And what I'll say is this: if you don't know how to use a platform, but you want to know how to use a platform, YouTube is your absolute best friend. Go to YouTube. How to use Instagram, how to make Instagram stories, how to make reels. Like, it is all there for you to go pee in the bathroom for 5 minutes and just watch a quick video on how to do it on your phone. We already talked about different platforms. We talked about consistency. Let's talk about likes and comments and feeling good about showing up. So a lot of times we get so caught up in, how many likes did my photo get? How many comments did I get? Because ultimately, we want people to feel like they're connected to us, and we attach likes and comments to it. Is there truth behind that? For sure. There is, right? Like, you're not going to like a photo if you don't feel like you like it or you connect to it. You're not going to take the time to comment if you don't feel like you connect to that person. So there is truth behind it. However, if that's our forefront of showing up, that will shine through in our posts, and people will be able to see, like, this is not authentic Gwen, and the content that she's showing up with is not true to her, and I don't want to follow her. So I really try to remind myself, like, why am I here? Again, go back to that bat signal. And instead of asking for things, I just try to give as much as I can. Where can I give? How can I give? What do you know? Because everyone knows something, whether you believe that or not. I'm going to make you believe it right now. You have been through some sort of circumstance in your life that you know how to help people through because you've been through it and you're on the other side. So maybe your baby didn't breastfeed very well for 3 months and she screamed her head off. And then you finally figured out that she just wasn't getting enough to eat. And you gave her formula and all was well in the world. Like, if you've been through that, then you know how to coach somebody through that. So you have knowledge in your life. And sometimes just sit down and think about what you've been through that's been hard. Like, write 3 things down that's been hard in your life, and you will have content to talk about consistently, because those people are your people. They're like you, and they like you and trust you. And so they're going to listen to the advice that you have to give. And if no one comments and likes, then no one comments and likes. It's not the end of the world. Like I said, if you feel like you really hate it, you can delete it. Okay, what was the other thing I was going to talk about? Oh, let's specifically talk about like curiosity posts and how to post them, how to write them. So when we have a product to sell, and that could be you, or that could be oils, or that could be photography. Like when we have something to sell, and it has a brand name. So let's just talk about a specific product, okay? If your product has a brand name and you show up on your Instagram with a picture of you and this specific product with the brand name clearly red in your photo, number one, people are very smart and they see the brand name of the product. They might not even read your post, and they're going to go to the Googles and they're going to look up the product that you're talking about. Or maybe they read your post and they're like, you know what? I'm going to go to the Googles and I'm going to check on that. I'm going to look up that product for myself and see how I can get it, because that's what people do. Most of the time when people are researching a product, they either ask their friends or they go right to the internet and they do a search. Now, what happens with products and companies that have any kind of person who decides they don't like the product, or any kind of news that hits that's maybe not the happiest news, right? You get people who write blog posts that are negative about these companies. And guess what gets the most traction on the Googles? All of the drama. So someone goes to the Googles and they look up your product, and all the dramatic posts come up to the top. And those are the first posts that they see. And they're like, oh, well, I'm never going to use that product because I read a blog post that said X, Y, and Z, right? And you're like, oh, please don't read those. They're spam, but we can only do so much. And people are going to do what they want to do. So instead, people want to see your face and they want to hear a story, but they're automatically going to go Google search that product. So I'm not saying never show your products, okay? But I'm just saying, like, maybe discreetly, like show yourself like putting your oil in your tea, right? But you're not necessarily like, here's this, the name is this, the brand is this. Like, we have to kind of get people to extract more info out of us, which we're going to do. We're going to give them, we're going to educate them. But we have to get them to want to learn from us and not go to the internet where there is tainted information. And that's with any big company. That will happen with any big company. There's always negative articles, negative blog posts, people who just get their panties in a bunch and just feel the need to voice their opinion. And then people seem to think that their opinion is truth. I don't know how that happens, but here we are. So curiosity posts look like, again, maybe not giving everyone something to go Google, but also just kind of not giving 1000% of the details. Remember when I said keep it short? Like, I am so thankful for this cup of tea in the day. I'm finding it just really helps me concentrate better. Like, I just can't believe it walked into my life and I've been drinking it every day for 5 years. You know, like, I'm not like, hey guys, how about this sleek tea that's made with frankincense resin and it goes in this, and you know what I mean? Just like keeping it short and not being super specific about the details, because your whole goal on social media when you're showing up and you're posting is to get people to ask you questions. That's your whole goal. You want people being curious about what you're doing enough to ask you a question and enough to learn more. Again, you can Google the crap out of, YouTube the crap out of videos talking about how to write curiosity posts. Martha Krajcik is really, really good at teaching people how to write curiosity posts. Okay, so there's so much information about that. If you're not sure how to do it, just go look it up, go read some more about it. But it's super helpful to get people to ask you those questions, because then once they ask you the question, that's not the end of the conversation. You're going to form that person. You're going to want to know more about that person. If they are not a friend and they're just coming to you randomly on social media, you're like, oh, I'm so glad you asked me that question. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about, anything, who you are? How'd you find me? What kinds of health concerns do you have? What kinds of homeschool concerns do you have, right? Like just kind of figuring out who this person is and getting them to talk a little bit about what they're looking for, because then you can meet a need. And guys, you already know who this person is, because this person is you before you found what you have. You already know how to talk to them because it's you. So know that, and know that it's easy because you already have the answer. You just have to kind of talk it through. Okay, so that's curiosity posts and consistency. Let me go in and see. Let me also check the chat and just make sure. Blah, blah, blah. Megan said earlier, sorry, I missed this, Megan. If I could start over, I wouldn't have created a second Instagram or Facebook page for just my business. Me neither. But I did in the beginning too, thinking like, oh yeah, well, this is a legit business. And I see people creating separate accounts for their business. So I need to have one. And it just became too much work, because we didn't come here to start businesses to spend more time on our businesses. Like I didn't leave my 9-to-5 to then spend 8 hours a day posting, and that's not the goal of my business. I wanted to work from home so that I could have more time to spend with my kids, so that I only worked a couple hours a week, right? Like that's the goal. Let me also check Facebook too, to see if we have any comments on Facebook. In the meantime, any other questions about social media? What didn't I hit that we want to talk about? Or Megan, can you think of any questions while you're typing away? Do you know, if there's a way to redirect people if I were to try and close out one of my pages? Is it a business page? So what I might do is, it depends on how many people have liked it. I might just personally message them and say, hey, I appreciate you. I love that you've been here with me on my business page. I'm realizing that I better serve people in this space, and I want to invite you to join me over here. And just give them the link to your Instagram, or give them the link to whatever you're sending them to, and just ask them to join you. I think that's the easiest way. I mean, how many people are there? Like a lot. 200, 500, 1,000, 10 people. That would be I think that's the easiest way to do that. I tried to close out my second Instagram, and it got complicated because it was connected to a business page. So then I had to, in order to do, okay, so here's the complicated thing about businesses on Instagram. You can change the status of your Instagram profile to a blogger, to a community, to a business. And when you have a business Instagram, the great thing about it is that you have analytics. So you can see how many people have my post hit, how many people have liked it. Like it gives you progress, so you can talk about your analytics in your business. And that's good for you if you're wanting to grow and wanting to see how am I reaching my people. You can look at that over time in a graph. So in order to do that on Instagram, you have to have a Facebook business page. So that's kind of annoying. I don't actually do anything with my business page on Facebook. I just created it so that I could have that Instagram feature. But yeah, okay. So Instagram business page is 154 followers, but I bet many already follow my personal page. Yeah. So you're probably gonna have to talk about it a couple of times. Like I would, on your Instagram business page, I would talk about it and say, hey guys, if you're not following me over here, I'm merging all my information over here, come over here, tag your account, like let them click on it. Say it a couple times, make a post about it, make a story about it. That's what I did. And then I just deleted a lot of my posts on my biz page. I tried to delete my whole business Instagram, but it made me nervous because it seemed like it was connected to my regular account and I didn't want to delete everything. So I just deleted my posts and merged people over there. Again, like you said, all of the people that were there were already following me on my personal page. So, okay, what else? I don't see any other questions in the Facebook feed. So hopefully I hit all the points that I want to talk about. I left my piece of note paper upstairs, so that's super not helpful. Can you think of anything else, Megan? Questions on social? Do we want to talk about blogging? Do you think that's a hot topic? We can talk about it. We can talk about websites. Let's talk about websites for a second.
Let's go with websites. I'm not a big blogger. I know a lot of people blog, but I don't.
Okay. Let's talk about websites, which will connect us to blog posts. Do you need a website for your business? No, you don't. You certainly don't. As long as you have good resources, maybe it's other websites, maybe it's company websites that you like and that you feel like really give your customer a good glimpse and will allow your customer to come back to you and say, okay, yeah, that looks awesome. I want to get this. How do I get this through you? There's lots of apps that are available. There's lots of very, very basic websites that you can build that are not expensive at all, that just have a blog, that have, you can attach a business email to them so that you can then get business email, right? If you want to have a business email address. But do I believe that you need to build a website to have your business? No, I don't. And it just depends on the type of business. I just recently started blogging again. And the reason why really was because I have built a little bit of a website it's kind of like a pre-built version of website through Get Oiling. It's already pre-built. I don't really have to do much for it. The platform is there. I just plug in my information, which is, I like those things because I'm not a website builder. But it gave me the opportunity to have a blog and reach the people who were searching on the Googles. So when you search on the internet, you might not get, in fact, I don't even know if that would work. You might not get information from an Instagram post, right? So say you want to learn about like helping my baby sleep at night and you go to Google and you're like, how do I help my baby sleep at night? You're going to get a bunch of websites. You're going to get a bunch of like website forums, but you're not going to get like Gwen Stacio's Instagram post on how to help a baby sleep at night, right? So for all the people who are going to the internet to search for things, I wanted to have a way that I could connect with them and a way that my information maybe will populate if somebody goes to the internet to search for something. So that's why I started blogging. I also started connecting my stuff to YouTube. And I want to be able to use my YouTube videos on my blog because it's just an easy way, right? Everything's connected. It's like a big circle. I don't know. Everything's connected. Your Instagram is connected to your blog. You know, maybe your short little snippet on your Instagram and you're like, if you want to read the full story, come on over to my blog. And then you've got the full story on your blog. And then they can see other blog posts that you have and maybe they catch something that's interesting. And maybe they see a YouTube video that you posted in your blog. And so they go over to your YouTube and they watch another video. It's just a way to connect with people. And that whole kind of circle is connected. How many points without doubling, tripling, quadrupling your work, because you're already doing the one post, you're already writing the information. How can you maximize that one post in multiple areas to make you more noticeable and more found, right? That's what I think. So I don't think that you need to have a website, especially if you're just starting out, especially. But you certainly can, and I think it's nice. Okay. I don't see any more questions, so I am going to go ahead and call it. But I hope that this was helpful. If you guys do think of a question that we didn't talk about, just pop it in the comments, and then I'll reply and we can address them. But those are usually the most frequently asked questions about social media and starting your business. So with that, I know Megan's typing, so I'll wait. Or you can just unmute and talk. You're welcome. All right, you guys, I will post the video for you so that you can go back and reference it. I hope you guys have an awesome Thursday, and thank you for joining.